This is the story, Joy and the Dobro. Dobro's behind me. I'm going to play it a little while and put it on YouTube. But right now I'm talking about it. Joy and the Dobro. I read the other day that stress and tension aren't the same thing. Stress is a thing that causes you to shut down, just quit, get frustrated. Tension, on the other hand, can spur you to action, can make you do something about whatever it was bothering you. So I guess it's the same feeling, sort of, but how you do it, what you do about it. Well, not long ago I was playing 5-string banjo behind a country singer at a local jam. And man, we were playing fast. It was a country song, but that banjo was clicking. All of a sudden he sort of waved back behind me like he wants me to stop. So I stop and go on back to the back of the stage, but my feelings were hurt. The nerve of that dude to tell me to stop playing, I said to myself. I worked really hard to support this singing here. So each time Jack played, I laid back. But I didn't feel good about it. So as I was playing behind other people, I've been playing banjo some of the time and not playing at all some of the time, I decided, I've got to find out what I did to upset him. I can't go home feeling this way. So before the last song of the evening was played, I walked over to Jack and said, I got to talk to you about something before we leave. So when the others packed up their instruments, I walked over to where he was standing. Can you tell me what you meant by that gesture a while ago? Bad timing, I guess, he said. Well, I come down here to make people feel better, I said, and I want to say right here, that was a revelation to me. I never had verbalized that before in my life, that my purpose in coming to these jams is to make people feel better. I guess I thought it, but I'd never said it. Then I said, I didn't come to make people feel worse. But I know it gets noisy up here sometimes, so I'm just going to sit out when you play. I didn't say for you to quit, he said. Well, it looked that way to me, and the gesture offended me. But I feel better after talking to you because I know I'm going to do something about it. What? I'm going to lay out when you sing. I didn't want you to lay out. I think you did. But you know what? I think you may be right. Later in the evening, another singer mentioned to me how much he loved a steel guitar. And another one said he sung in country jams and bluegrass jams when we had all those things, but this was both. So now I see that I'd been stressed by Jack's gesture. For frustrated in purpose, I stopped playing. But then thinking about what he did and what others said, I found myself being tensed into doing something to help the music in that jam. On the way home, I ran the event over and over in my mind, and later I tried to sleep, but I couldn't go to sleep. Sometime in the middle of the night, I suddenly knew I should play slide guitar during the country stuff and banjo during the bluegrass stuff. Now, I ought to say here too, on the way home, I said, Lord, I need to figure this thing out. I need some help. I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due here. Now, I played lap guitar or lap slide guitar for a pretty good while, but never in this intense a jam. Down there, you better be on your toes, you'll get eaten up. My daddy loved slide guitar. He told me one time in our little town in Polkton, there was a man over in another part of town whose name was K.O. Marble, his real name. And K.O. Marble had been a boxer, but he also played good slide guitar, Daddy said. And he played it with a bottle that come off the neck had come off a beer bottle. Daddy was really impressed. After that time, I bought a metal nut that raised the strings on my acoustic harmony guitar so I could play it as a lap slide. But after a few songs, I took the raised nut off and started playing standard acoustic guitar again. Then, after one of the jams Mr. Joe Perry had in our town, he came over to me with an electric lap steel guitar in his hand. I want you to take this thing home and play it, he said. I never played an electric one, Mr. Joe. Take it on home, hook it up to your amp and play it. I know you can do it. Well, I did what he said, at least part of it. But when I hit the strings, oh, that thing sounded so pretty. But the problem was I couldn't get it to shut up. You hit the string, it wouldn't stop. It took me 3 decades to find out that you could use this hand right here and the picking hand and put it down on the strings and shut them up. So finally I just gave up on the electric lap steel and took it back to Mr. Joe. I don't remember his reaction, but I know it disappointed, or at least I thought it disappointed him. 35 years later, I began to study acoustic dobro. But none of this slide guitar history came into consciousness as I was sleeping and trying to sleep and trying to decide what to do about the next week's jam. A reason, if you're going to be heard, you got to have an electric guitar. If you're going to please the country fans and make it sound like a pedal steel, you got to have a volume control and make the sound just continue. Well, I had the amp and I had a volume pedal. I had an electric. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I had a dobro, but not an electric dobro. But thank God and reasonable credit, I ordered one on Wednesday morning and had that beard back in my hand in the doorstep the next afternoon. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And to me, this new dobro sounded the best I have sounded in my life, no matter what I've tried to play. I worked out an arrangement for steel guitar rag and went to the next jam with both banjo and electric dobro. Before we started playing, I told Jack what I'd done. Then I played the banjo from the beginning, but by the time Jack stood to sing, I moved to dobro, playing chords like a pedal steel guitar, simple and quiet. After a while, the MC asked me, did I want to play something on the dobro? I said I did. Steel guitar rag in G. Now that's usually an E, but they Imberman played it in G. I started out tentatively, lost my place, then came back and burnt that sucker up. I'm sorry to sound so bold, but it was the best I ever played in my life. I didn't understand it. I don't think I still understand it. Now I don't get applause for the banjo, but I got a pot full for that dobro. Playing that song may have been the finest musical event of my life. It was almost as if my daddy was standing there smiling. And Mr. Joe was there and they were nodding. And they said, we knew you could do it someday. Before we left, Jack came over and said he wanted me to play Fireball Mail on dobro next time. Now all this came about because the master let me have some stress and gave me the ability or the spurring to turn it into tension, and then decided to do something about it with his help. I got that dobro, I played it, I just had the best time in the world, and all that stress and stuff was turned into joy and joy into peace. I'm going to try to play that thing on YouTube in a little while. It'll be a while before it's up. Leon 3 Smith -YouTube. And the print version of this thing I'm going to get on my website shortly, and I'll tell you when that thing is ready. Thank you for paying attention.